Hi there. In today's art talk, we're going to be talking about an artist couple. Christo and Jeanne-Claude were artists noted for their large-scale, site-specific environmental installations, often large landmarks and landscape elements wrapped in fabric. Here we can see some smaller objects and sculptures that have been wrapped in their signature style. Christo Vladimirov Javachev was born in Bulgaria, in a small town in the Balkan Mountains. Christo began creating art early on, inspired by his parents' bohemian social circle, and was encouraged by several professors from the Academy of Fine Arts who would frequent the family home to visit his parents. Politics also shaped his early life, and as a young boy, Christo witnessed his birth country's invasion by the Nazis and later by the Soviets. Jeanne-Claude Denat de Guillebon was born in Morocco, where her father, Major Léon Denat, a French general, was stationed. Her young mother, Priscilla, divorced her father not long after she was born and went on to remarry 3 times. The military family moved around quite a bit, and she received most of her early education in France and Switzerland. She was, from the start, an outgoing, highly social person with strong organizational skills. So this piece here is an iconic one of the duo. In the spring of 1970, Christo and Jeanne-Claude began to work on Valley, a 200 by 200 square foot section of orange woven nylon fabric that stretched across an entire portion of the Colorado Valley. The gigantic crescent-shaped fabric was suspended on a steel cable and anchored to 2 mountaintops between Grand Junction and Glenwood Springs in the Hogback mountain range. It was tied down with 27 ropes and spread across the valley at a maximum measurement of 1,250 feet wide and 365 feet high, a feat of engineering. Here are photos of when they wrapped the Pont-Neuf Bridge in Paris. And just imagine the scale and effort this took to wrap not only something as large as this, but something with such irregular and different shapes. I mean, we can see they even wrapped underneath the bridge as well. Christo first sketched out the idea for wrapping a building in 1961 and envisioned early on that a public government building with a strong link to the general populace would be the preferred site. Years later, he identified the Reichstag in Germany as the perfect building to wrap because it represented the possibility of a renewed relationship between Europe's Eastern and Western blocs. This work used 1,076,390 square feet of thick, shiny aluminum-based fabric and 9.7 miles of blue polypropylene rope to wrap the Reichstag. Running fence is almost 25 miles long and 18 feet high, extending east-west just north of San Francisco in Sonoma and Marin counties, on private properties of 59 ranchers, following the rolling hills and dropping down to the Pacific Ocean in Bodega Bay. The running fence was completed on September 10th of 1976, and the project consisted of 42 months of collaborative efforts, the ranchers' participation, 18 public hearings, 3 sessions at the Superior Courts of California, a drafting of a 450-page environmental impact report, and the temporary use of the hills, the sky, and the ocean. So it's really evident the amount of logistics that go into Christo and Jeanne-Claude's iconic and groundbreaking works. Work began on the installation of the couple's most protracted project, The Gates, in New York City Central Park in January 2005. Its full title, The Gates, Central Park, New York, 1979 to 2005, refers to the time elapsed between the year of the artist's initial proposal and the year they were actually allowed to proceed, having received permission from the newly elected mayor, Michael Bloomberg. A total of 7,503 gates made of saffron-colored fabric were placed on paths in a grid formation in Central Park, flowing freely to emulate the natural elements of the park within the urban city. This piece took place simultaneously in 2 different rural locations, one in Japan outside Tokyo, and the other in California, north of Los Angeles. The umbrellas were assembled in California and composed of fabric, aluminum, steel, wooden supports, bags, and molded base covers. 1,340 blue umbrellas were installed in Japan a color chosen to evoke the rich vegetation and water resources of the area. And 1,760 yellow umbrellas were placed in California, reflecting the golden grass that covers the nearby hills. In Japan, the umbrellas were placed closer together, emulating rice fields, and spread further apart in California, where vast expanses of agricultural land dominate much of the Central Valley. The usage of umbrellas in each location symbolizes the similarities and differences associated with the ways of life and the land usage in each area. For 16 days, June 18th through July 3rd, 2016, Italy's Lake Iseo was reimagined. The floating piers consisted of shimmering yellow fabric carried by a modular floating dock system of high-density polyethylene cubes that kind of rippled with the movement of the waves. Visitors were able to experience this and walk on it from Solzano to Monte Isola and to the island of San Paolo, which was framed by the floating piers, as we can see in these pictures. The lake's also surrounded by mountains, which kind of offered a bird's eye view of the floating piers, exposing unnoticed angles and different perspectives. And finally, we'll end on their most recent project from 2021. Now, at this time, both Christo and Jeanne-Claude had passed away, but as we've learned, their projects would take years in the making for planning, permits, and logistics. So this was something they were working on long before they passed. The project was funded entirely from Christo's estate and created in conjunction with the City of Paris, the Centre Pompidou, and the Centre des Monuments Nationaux, or Center of National Monuments. And it was on display for 16 days in 2021, but Christo began sketching the idea back in 1962. The couple's efforts have been recognized by filmmakers and photographers, and a 1973 documentary about their work was actually nominated for an Academy Award. In 2004, they won the Achievement in Contemporary Sculpture Award, and in 2006, they received the Best Project in a Public Space Award. Their work really pushes the boundaries of convention and categorization of art, in particular the notion of sculpture as a fixed or permanent object. Jeanne-Claude, in fact, likened their work to a rainbow, made all the more beautiful and exciting because it's temporary. Thank you.